What's up, everyone? This is Lucas, aka Robotic Realm. I wanted to go through some basic music theory with you, mainly about keys, chords, and how to apply that to the typical stabs you hear in 80s music or retro synthwave and Italo disco. First, we need to understand one basic concept, and that is about whole and half steps in music. A whole step is the distance when you move two notes up or down on the keyboard. For example, there is a whole step from C to D, because there is a black key, the C sharp or D flat, between those notes. And if we move from E to F sharp, there is also a whole step. And from A to B, there is also a whole step. When we're talking about half steps, it is if you move one key or note up or down the keyboard. So if you move from C to C sharp, that's a half step, or if you moved from E to F, that is also a half step. So the distance is called a half step. Now, if we are in the key of C major, we only use the white keys. In a major scale, there are whole steps throughout, except between the third and the fourth note and between the seventh and the eighth note, where there is a half step. Like you see there between E and F, there is a half step, and between B and C is a half step. Otherwise, it's whole steps throughout. If we know this, we can play any major scale, because that applies to every major scale. And here is a D major scale, for example. You can see there that between the third and fourth note, between F sharp and G, there's a half step, and between C sharp and D, there's a half step. Now, if we go back to the key of C major, when we're building chords, and a chord is when you play three or more notes at a time. When we are in C major, we only use the notes in the C major scale. And that happens to be only the white keys, as you know. And if we begin from C, then skip a note, the D, and then press E, and skip a note, that is F, and then press G, we have a C major chord like this. C, E, and G, that's a C major chord. If we begin at D instead and using the same technique, we get a D minor chord like this, D, F, and A. And if we begin from E, we get a E minor chord. And if we begin from F, we have a F major chord, and then G major and A minor. And at last, if we begin from B, we have a B minor flat fifth. But we usually skip doing a chord from the seventh note in the scale, so that you can disregard. So, therefore we have 6 chords in each key. In C we have C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. And that's all the chords there is in the key of C major. If we were to use a D major chord, for example, and that sounds pretty nice. If I, for example, play C major and D major and then G major, that sounds quite okay. But then we have moved from C into G major. the G major key. So if you can absolutely use other chords than what is in the key, but then you have change key. Now, if we look at what is called the circle of fifths, this is a crude drawing that I made about the circle of fifths. Here we have all the keys and all the major and minor chords. To know which chords you can use in which key, you just look and use the chords that are around the middle chord, like this. If we are in the key of C major, we have F to the left and G to the right and D minor and A minor and E minor. Those are all the chords in C major, in the key of C major. And if we were to use a minor key instead, for example, if we were in the key of A minor, that's the same chords actually, but we use them a little bit differently. So, as you can see here, if we were to, for example, use the key of A major, we would have the chords A major, D major, E major, B minor, F sharp minor, and C sharp minor. So that's the whole concept. Now we will look at the 80s music and stuff and how we can apply this knowledge to that. One thing that I forgot to mention is that it's important to know the inversions of each chord. The C major chord, for example, consists of the notes C, E, and G. If you begin at C, we're at the root position, like this. And the second inversion, then we move up the C to this C here, and we get also C chord, but the second inversion. And if we move the E up to here, and we begin at G instead, we get the second inversion. So each chord has 3 positions. That's important to know when you're playing and composing, I think. Well, what is very common with 80s stabs is that when playing major chords, you often go from the 4th or the 5th chord in the scale to the 1st. For example, from G to C or from F to C in C major, in the key of C major. And often you leave the root as C in both cases, like this. Yeah, you recognize that one. If we take a song like Valerie by Steve Winwood and we play it in the key of C major, then we have like this. We have a C, something like that. And you see here that we have, it's the F chord that goes from F to C here. And we also have the C and C again. And we have a C as the root. And if you say that, well, I don't recognize that, that's not how it sounds, it's because the original song is in another key, but it's those chords if we take C major key as an example. And if we move on to Christopher Cross, It's Alright, or I think that's how the song is called. We have, again, from G to C. And here we see that we have those three chords again, F major and G major and C major, and we just move the root around, and well, it creates other kinds of chords. Well, I'll leave it at that. You get the point, I think. In a digital signal processor by cyber people, we have a C that, or we have an F that goes to C and back. So that's the same concept. Again, we have F and then to C. That's 4 notes apart. And well, in Dragon's Legend by Koto, we have also the same concept. G to C. And in Two for Love by Miko Mission, it's so there's those stabs again. And in Romano Bai's his song Dial My Number, also an Italo disco classic, we have, it's in the key of C minor, but I play it in A minor. Again, the same stuff. G to C to G, but with G as root. Another common thing is if we have a minor key, like for example in A minor, like I played just a second ago with Diamond Number, it's often that they go from A minor to G and to A minor again, with A as the root. This is very common. For example, in Love Spy by Mareen, something like that. Or in Radiorama's Vampires, it's the same. And here we have A minor to G to A minor, and then a C to G again. You see the pattern here, I hope. It's just that we have A as the root. And in Fletch Theme by Harold Faltermeyer, if you have seen that movie, we have sorry for the sloppy playing. And in Pionter Sisters, I'm So Excited, we have here again, we have C and F, but the D is the root, so therefore it's kind of an D minor, actually, but, well. Also, we have what we call suspended chords that are also pretty common. For example, Bon Jovi's Runaway, we have a suspended chord, I show you here. From C to B and C to D. This is a sus4 and this is a sus2 chord. So I hope you understand. That's Bon Jovi, Runaway, and Norum, Stranded. It's a Swedish artist that had this hit in 86. No, here. Sorry. Okay, I hope you have learned something from this. So if you need that 80s stab sound, you know what you can do with the chords, and I hope at least you know what you can do to make it sound like the 80s. So thank you for watching and listening. Have a nice day. Bye.